what are some of the weaknesses that we saw in the Arsenal team in the season 2023-2024 and also the previous one that was 2022-2023. Now, in this video here today, I want to dissect on that topic, but before I do so, kindly if this is the first time you're watching our videos, make sure to subscribe, like and comment, because that's the best support you can always give this channel. Let me dive into the topic today. The first mistake I noted, the first weakness I noted is that towards the end of the season, Arsenal players lost some momentum. They became a bit weak, they were either exhausted, and actually as a result we saw us losing some of the matches that were very crucial. If we check in 2023-2024, we had this issue to do with Aston Villa. We had also, towards the last matches, we were not such strong. So therefore, I want to say that the exhaustion that we had as our players had, actually that's why most of the players could not give out good results. Now, another thing I noted is that in our left back, we had a big problem. Actually, what I can say that in this case, I cannot blame Arteta because actually, and even the entire Arsenal team, management, because they had signed Jurriën Timber. To their surprise, Jurriën Timber got injured. He could have been a key player in that season, but because of his injury, he could not come and play. But if you check closely, that was the problem that we had in Arsenal. If you check the performance of Zinchenko, he cost us in the season 2022-2023, where we lost against Liverpool. Not just that match, but many other matches as well, we lost through that. So again, in the match against Liverpool, we saw the same thing because Liverpool scored us through the same kind of a mistake that was made at that time. So therefore, the left back aspect was a very crucial, was a very significant thing when it comes to the effect that it brought to Arsenal. And I feel strongly that now the bringing in of Timber and even Calafiori himself, it was basically to fix that problem. Another weakness that I noted there is the fear on defense. Actually, our defense, like 2022-2024 season, we did not have enough depth, particularly in the defense. Have you even imagined if really Saliba got an injury? Who could have played there? How could they have survived? If you see the season 2022-2023, Saliba got an injury and actually it cost us the league. Imagine, we didn't win a trophy at that time. So this time again, we were lucky that Saliba played to the end of the season, all matches. But if you check closely that if Saliba could have gotten injured, then therefore that means that Arsenal could have seriously suffered a big blow because it could have either dropped many points, but because Saliba was present, at least our defense was a bit composed, was very much composed, let me say that. So therefore, in this kind of a season, this kind of a signing that is happening this time around, we need to have a replacement on that side. Of course, having Jurriën Timber coming on board, because he can play both in defense and both central mid defense and right back or left back. Therefore, he can help a lot when it comes to being the defender if Saliba gets injured. Also, another problem we had is the defensive midfield. If we had Rice injured, well, how could we have survived? Partey was constantly injured. And I hope this time around this gentleman will be sold. If you not, then probably you cannot be relied on. So therefore, it means that if we had an injury in relation to Rice, Declan Rice, then that means Arsenal could have suffered immensely because nobody could have replaced this gentleman in the midfield. And therefore, this time around as we move forward, bringing in a midfielder is very crucial so that we can have this player at least rotate to ensure none of them is injured. So therefore, that's one of the weaknesses we had. There was a huge fear on how we are going to replace if Declan Rice is injured, if Saliba is injured, and particularly Partey who used to be injured. So if the three of them are injured, how could have the team survived? Another problem we had here, Arteta towards the end of the season, he always developed some problems, particularly when it comes to tactics. I didn't like his tactics. Towards the end of the season, Arteta did not behave well when it comes to tactics. We were using the same tactics when it comes to the striking. I mean, we move very well from the back, reaching in the opponent's box, we pass the same way. So everyone knows how we're moving. Everyone knows where Saka will place the ball. He could not change. Despite him seeing that it was constantly not working, he kept on replicating the same thing in every match. And as a result, our results were not good towards the end of the season. Another thing I realized, of course, is the Partey injuries, where we had constant injuries from him, and that one actually resulted to our team not having that momentum to move forward. Another thing we're talking about, before I go to the another thing, is that Partey, has a very nice and progressive passes. But now, those passes cannot be gotten if he's out of several games. So we missed him in most of the games, and personally I feel that was a huge blow to us because we didn't have too much creativity going forward, despite we scored so many goals. And the problem, of course, it was Gabriel Jesus himself. He did not play well. Most of the games most of the matches he played, he got chances to score. He could not convert the chances into goals. That was a big mistake that he used to make. That was a big challenge that he had. And the thing is the constant injuries. When he plays well, particularly in Champions League, the next match is missing. So he was totally unreliable. No, not really totally, but 50% reliable. So we don't want such kind of a player and a consistency if you want to win the league. Therefore, we must fix that problem by signing in a number 9, a center forward. Another thing I want to talk about is Zinchenko's weakness. Of course, Zinchenko was easily became tired, and also despite being creative, Zinchenko, to check on him clearly defensively was not good. So as a result, he cost the team so much. Personally, I was always in fear whenever he's facing any opponent. Now, another thing is the poor cohesion from poor Saka's exhaustion. Saka was most of the time exhausted, particularly towards the end of the season. He played, like in 2022-23, played all the 38 matches, 90 minutes. You know, even if there was any break of international, he used to play, coming to the team again as when he plays. Saka played without nobody to replace him. I think this is the time we need to have a team, where we have Saka getting a replacement in case there's any problem to do with exhaustion or injured. So that's a problem I noticed, and actually Saka was so much marked, gets so much aggressive opponents, and despite the opponents being aggressive, Saka played for so many minutes, so he was so much exhausted. As a result, he could not give much to the striking force, or even could not add much to the creativity of the team. So Saka himself, he needs a replacement. At times, some matches he can come in the second half, or maybe can rest completely. Another thing I think I noted there was Ben White. Ben White was equally, particularly in 2022-23 season, was so much exhausted. Even this 2024, 2023, 2024, he did not do well as such. So Ben White needs a replacement. At least we can see a team that at least has some replacements in case there's exhaustion. He's a good defender, but I feel personally, to some extent, there's something that he was lacking. Despite he could comfortably work with Odegaard and Saka very well, I feel that he reaches a point, he gets exhausted, and the moment he's exhausted, the team does not have so many alternatives to bring on board. But now having Timber coming back, of course, having Calafiori as well there, having some other players in between, I feel that we can easily conquer these opponents in case we have exhaustion of this other kind. Now, another thing I want to quote here that I feel personally the team has to fix is the issue of substitution. You find that Arteta could delay substitution or substitute people who are not doing well. Like now, Havertz was constantly left in a match despite his poor performance. We need people who are put in the field to perform. He needs to be given that chance to play because he can perform. So we want the coach to be proactive. Whenever there's a problem in a certain position, to work well and ensure that this person is out of the match. Because we don't want a scenario where we are so weak offensively but strong defensively. So we realize that our defense is so much overworked because they're not able to, the striking force is not able to convert their match efforts into success. So we need our players, particularly in the forward side, to be very aggressive. Now, also another thing that I noted from there is the issue of the goalkeeper. I think Ramsdale was so much demoralized when it comes to being our second goalkeeper, and I personally feel it was very wrong. Ramsdale was a good goalkeeper before, but he had a slightly poorer defense than Raya right now. Despite Raya has his own strengths, I feel that it was a bit demoralizing for Ramsdale, because whenever he came in matches, he came out to prove that he was the right person to play. He came out so much tense. He came out so much pressure in him that he has to perform better than Raya. That was not necessary. We need a scenario where our players are both valued, and because one of the mistakes that we usually do as Arsenal is the issue on goalkeeping. Because we lost Martinez, who was a very nice goalkeeper, in the name of we could not bring him in more matches, in the name of sticking to Leno, and that was a very big mistake. That is my video there and there. Can make sure that subscribe, like and comment, because that's the best support you can always give this channel. And please make sure keep following most of the videos that you're going to do and this channel is particularly on the analysis on Arsenal's performance and in the entire, of course, EPL when it comes to the top 6.